Hey everyone, welcome back to IELTS time. Today we're going to work on part 1 and our topic is taking a break. As always, you'll hear 2 mock interviews. The first one is more balanced and structured, while the second one is more expressive and conversational. So let's jump straight into our first interview with Finn.
Do you often take breaks?
Yeah, I do, especially when I'm studying for long hours. I've noticed that if I don't take breaks, I lose focus pretty quickly. So I try to step away every hour or so to recharge.
How many breaks do you usually take during your day?
On a typical day, I'd say I take around 3 to 5 breaks. It really depends on how busy I am with classes or assignments. During exam periods, I tend to take even more frequent breaks to stay productive.
What do you usually do during your breaks?
Most of the time, I just scroll through my phone or watch short videos. Sometimes I grab a snack or make a cup of coffee. If I have more time, I might go for a short walk to clear my head.
Do you prefer short breaks or long breaks? Why?
I definitely prefer short breaks because they help me stay in the flow of what I'm doing. If I take a long break, it's harder to get back into studying. Short breaks feel more refreshing without being too distracting.
Where do you usually go when you take a break?
I usually just stay in my room or head to a nearby common area on campus. If the weather's nice, I like going outside and sitting on a bench. Being outdoors helps me relax a bit more.
Do you think it is important to take breaks when you are studying or working?
Absolutely, I think it's essential. Without breaks, your brain just gets overloaded and your efficiency drops. Taking regular breaks actually helps you stay focused and retain information better.
Do you take a nap when you have a rest?
Sometimes I do, especially if I didn't get enough sleep the night before. I try not to nap for too long, though, because it can mess up my sleep schedule. A quick nap can be really refreshing.
How do you feel after taking a nap?
I usually feel much more energized and clear headed. It's like hitting a reset button for my brain. However, if I sleep too long, I can feel a bit groggy afterward.
Did you take breaks more often when you were younger?
I think I actually took fewer structured breaks when I was younger. I used to just study or play without really thinking about balance. Now I'm more aware of how important breaks are for productivity.
Do you prefer to spend your breaks alone or with other people?
It depends on my mood, but most of the time I prefer being alone. It gives me a chance to fully relax and recharge. That said, occasionally chatting with friends during a break can be really enjoyable too.
Great, so that was Finn's interview. His answers are clear, natural, and well balanced. He keeps things simple, but usually adds a reason or a bit of explanation to develop his ideas. That's exactly what you should aim for in part 1. Now let's look at a different style, more expressive and a bit more spontaneous. Here's Blondie. Do you often take breaks?
Honestly, not nearly as often as I probably should. I'm the kind of person who gets total tunnel vision when I'm in the middle of a project, so I'll just keep working until, all of a sudden, I realise I'm starving, or my eyes are literally starting to blur. I know I should probably be more intentional about it, but usually I just don't stop until I completely hit a wall.
How many breaks do you usually take during your day?
It's pretty inconsistent. On a busy day, I might only take one real break for lunch and then just a few frantic 30-second stretches in my chair. If things are quieter, I might step away a couple of times, but it's definitely not something I have hard-coded into my schedule.
What do you usually do during your breaks?
Honestly, I usually just end up doom scrolling on social media for a few minutes while I'm still sitting at my desk, which I know isn't the best way to recharge. Occasionally, I'll have the presence of mind to actually get up and grab a snack or walk to the window just to see the sun.
Do you prefer short breaks or long breaks? Why?
I think I'm better suited to longer breaks, mainly because it takes me a while to actually detach from what I'm doing. If I only take 5 minutes, my brain is still halfway in work mode. I need a solid half hour to actually feel like I've mentally checked out and refreshed.
Where do you usually go when you take a break?
If I am at the office, I'll typically wander down to the break room or a nearby cafe just to get away from the glow of my monitor. I find that if I stay physically at my desk, my brain doesn't actually register that I'm off duty. So I make a point to find a communal area or even just a quiet corner where I can decompress for a few minutes.
Do you think it is important to take breaks when you're studying or working?
Oh, 100%. Even though I'm bad at doing it, I notice a huge dip in my performance when I skip them. You start making silly mistakes or overcomplicating simple tasks. Taking a breather gives you a bit of perspective and helps you tackle the work with a fresh set of eyes.
Do you take a nap when you have a rest?
Not typically. I've never really mastered the art of the power nap. Usually, if I try to lie down for a quick 20 minutes, I end up oversleeping and waking up mid-afternoon feeling completely out of it. I find it's much better for my productivity to just push through the fatigue and save my sleep for the night.
How do you feel after taking a nap?
Honestly, I usually feel worse than I did before I lay down. I tend to get that heavy, foggy-headed feeling that takes forever to shake off. It's like my brain is stuck in low gear and I can't quite get back into the flow of work, so I try to avoid napping unless I'm absolutely exhausted.
Did you take breaks more often when you were younger?
Definitely. Back in school, breaks were mandatory, you had recess and lunch built into the day. As an adult, no one is ringing a bell telling you to go outside and play, so it's much easier to just stay glued to your seat all day without even realising it.
Do you prefer to spend your breaks alone or with other people?
Mostly alone. Work or study is already so mentally taxing that I usually just want some solitude to decompress. If I spend my break chatting with someone else, I feel like I haven't actually turned off my brain, so I prefer to just have some quiet time to myself.
Alright, that was Blondie's version. You can probably notice the difference, right? Her answers are a bit more expressive and personal, with a more conversational style. Both approaches work well. The most important thing is to sound natural, clear, and comfortable when you speak. Now let's look at some useful vocabulary for this topic. When you're talking about studying or working, it's really useful to describe your level of focus and energy. For example, you might say you lose focus after a long period of studying, which is completely normal. To fix that, you can recharge by taking a short break. You might also prefer short breaks because they help you stay in the flow, meaning you can continue working smoothly without losing momentum. When describing what you do during a break, there are several natural expressions you can use. For instance, you might go for a walk to clear your head, especially if you're feeling stressed. You could also say you take a breather, which simply means taking a short pause to relax. Another common phrase is unwind, which suggests a deeper level of relaxation after doing something mentally tiring. Sometimes, instead of taking breaks regularly, people push themselves too hard. You might say you hit a wall, meaning you suddenly feel unable to continue because you're too tired. If you're extremely focused, you could describe it as having tunnel vision, where you ignore everything else around you. Over time, this can lead to feeling burnt out, which means you're mentally and physically exhausted from too much work. When talking about break time habits, especially less productive ones, there are some useful phrases you can use. For example, you might say you scroll through your phone during breaks, and sometimes this turns into what people call doom scrolling, where you keep consuming content without really thinking. You can also say you waste time, especially if your break doesn't actually help you feel refreshed. If you're talking about resting, especially sleeping, there are some great expressions you can use. You might take a nap during the day to recover some energy. After a short nap, you may feel refreshed and ready to continue working. However, if you sleep too long, you might feel groggy, which means tired and not fully awake, making it harder to focus again. Alright, that brings us to the end of today's lesson. So before you go, maybe this is your reminder to actually take a break. If you've been sitting there for a while staring at your screen, it might be a good idea to step away for a few minutes. Go grab a snack, stretch a little, or just look outside and give your eyes a rest. Sometimes even a short pause can make a big difference in how you feel. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time. And if you'd like more practice with other topics, you can check out the membership for extra videos.